When you go and watch a sitcom or a kids' TV show that is based in live action, you acknowledge that there are going to be scenes and situations that don't really add up, right? Whether it's characters acting one way in one episode and then doing a 180 in another, or plot MacGuffins and other things popping up just when characters need it, it's a common thing that you have to expect in the industry. Nickelodeon has done this all the time with their shows, including popular ones like Victorious. So allow us to show you the top 10 things on Victorious that made no sense. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 10. No prom? Okay, let's start out with one that might easily be explained depending on how you look at things. You see, in a key episode of Victorious, we find out that the school doesn't have a prom, and Tori is obviously very distraught about this and works to get it back via prom, which is a very Nickelodeon way of handling things, but hey, we digress. However, if you actually remember the pilot to Victorious, you'll remember that everyone's favorite mean puppet called out Kat for not having a date to the prom last year, which is a problem because, as we just established, the school didn't have a prom, right? But here's the thing, when it comes to TV, there are loose rules that are accepted. Mainly that pilots are very different from the main season because they're filmed way before the main series is made because it's used to gauge whether or not the show deserves to go live. That's why you hear the term unaired pilot, like with Game of Thrones, Star Trek, which actually had 2 pilots, and so on. Also, this was a throwaway line. It's possible that the writers just forgot about it or they just didn't care. Either way, we got the prom episode. Number 9, safety first? This one is definitely a call out because nothing about this makes sense in terms of actual logic. In the episode, Tori and crew are brought onto a game show known as Brain Squeezers. In it, you're asked a trivia question with a cash prize at the end. If you get them wrong, you get a doink. What's a doink? Well, it is a painful punishment that is unleashed upon the player who didn't answer quickly or correctly. The problem, though, is that some of these doinks were really beyond the scope of logic and honestly could have killed people, such as when one character was actually answering a question right and yet a literal toilet dropped on their head. Hey, toilets are heavy, and they made it clear this was a real toilet, and that could have easily crushed their skull. Not to mention, in the end, a literally dumb bonus challenge meant that they didn't get the money. So what was the point of it all? And how did this show get approved for television? Well, in the Victorious universe. Exactly. Number 8, stuck at no zoo. Here's a classic TV trope. 2 characters go to a restaurant and both of them just happen to forget their money to pay for their food. For Tori and Robbie, this happened at a sushi restaurant called No Zoo, and despite their best efforts, they can't contact anyone because one didn't bring their phone and the other didn't have phone service because the phone plan was too expensive. So thus they're forced to work off the money by chopping squids and singing as they do it. One problem, we see Victoria using the place's computer to send out a tweet, so why couldn't she just DM her friends to let them know what was going on? Plus, because it is a restaurant, they had to have a lineup for call-in orders. Not to mention the owner or workers should have had phones themselves, so thus someone should have been able to contact someone to get help and money. Number 7, Jade West untouchability. Another classic trope that TV loves to do is a bad boy or bad girl, pushing the limits of what they can get away with. We see this all the time with bully characters, which in Victorious was the one and only Jade West, a girl with some serious issues, not the least of which is hating Tori Vega so much that she continually tries to hurt her or humiliate her, which as a bully is pretty par for the course, but at times it goes way beyond the realms of logic. She does actual crimes to Tori and her friends at points, including identity theft, sending flowers to Tori who is allergic to get a major physical event to happen, her getting very sick and potentially dying, and in one episode, taking her out in a desert area to get rid of her, complete with a shovel in the back seat. And yet she does not get in trouble for any of these major infractions and crimes. How does that work? Especially in School of the Arts, because if a student dies because of another student, or something close to that, the school would be partially to blame. Number 6, Andre's unfair grade. In the Christmas-themed episode, A Christmas Tori, get it? Andre finds himself on the brink of sorts when his music teacher gives him a D for a song that he made for class. Now, if he had gotten that grade fairly, that would have been a different episode entirely. But the teacher, Anthony, only stated that he tuned deserved a D, which is just dumb. Remember, this is a school for the arts, and if you can't give a critique to a student that helps them grow, then they can't learn what to improve upon. Fast forward to the end of the episode and we actually hear the song, and not only is it great, it's catchy and gets everyone singing. Even the teacher was getting into it. So why did he give the D in the first place? Anthony wasn't the evil teacher that we've seen in shows like this, so what was the deal here? Number 5, the ping pong scheme. This one is just dumb. Apparently the principal of the school, which remember is Hollywood Arts, is in danger of losing his job because of a lack of sports trophies. Gee, how lame. Naturally, the Victorious crew come up with a crazy scheme to save him. They're going to fake being a ping pong team and pretend to win a championship, buy a fake trophy after raising money, and then use the rest of the cash to get and go buy an expensive dinner. There is so much wrong with this plot, it hurts. Why is an art school being judged for its sports teams? Why would this be on the principal and not the students for failing to perform? How would one fake a ping pong trophy? And how could one really find out when they didn't win a tournament? Among all these other things, of course. Number 4, Kesha's Contest. A very curious episode featured the Victorious gang trying to win a contest. They had to go and get ice cream cartons and looks for the letter to spell Kesha, and they would win big, allegedly. But here's the thing, look at the episode and you realize that they basically bought hundreds of these ice cream cartons. You see the problem? Exactly, where did they get the money? Even if they were, say, only $5, we're rounding up, that would be hundreds of dollars just on what we see, not to mention what is implied. Yet in other episodes, including that ping pong episode we just mentioned, that they are broke, or close to it, that they need to raise money to buy a fake trophy. Number 3, the sleepover. This one started out fine, but then got really weird. To help teach method acting, Sikowitz invites the crew to his house via a sleepover for an intense session, where they have to try and maintain character throughout the night. And as you'd expect, some succeed and, well, some fail at this. Here's the rub. How did Sikowitz get permission to host this, let alone the kids get permission to go to his place? This is not only highly irregular, it's kinda creepy, especially given how Sikowitz is in terms of personality. Would you trust your kids to go to a sleepover at Sikowitz's? Exactly. Number 2, Helen Dubois. One of the things that honestly made networks like Disney Channel and Nickelodeon fun is that, technically speaking, their live-action shows were all connected, and as such, fun crossovers and spin-offs happened, like Victorious and Big Time Rush, or the show Sam and Cat fusing Victorious with iCarly. In one Victorious episode, Helen Dubois from Drake and Josh appeared as herself in perfect character and was revealed to be the new principal of Hollywood Arts. Crossover confirmed? Wrong, because Helen is never shown again, and in the next episode they showed Drake and Josh as a TV show, which meant the shows aren't in the same universe, but if that's the case, then how did Helen get there? Number 1, Tori Vega's lack of talent. Every show has a punching bag character, it's natural. For Victorious, it was Tori Vega, Tori's sister. Her lack of talent isn't just apparent at times, it's stated all the time. So much so that you have to ask, how did she make it into the school? Turns out she apparently got in because of a hallucination during her first audition, and then Tori willed her in the second time when Helen re-auditioned and Trina still failed. So how is she still in the school overall? Well, to be a punching bag apparently, which is just sad for a Nickelodeon show. So what do you think? What do you think about this look at Victorious and how certain elements of it just don't make any sense at all? What do you think is the logic behind some of these writing choices or characters? Was it just so that kids could like it? Or did they really think no one would notice this at all? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.